on. Why are you so silent? Why are you so uncomfortable when it comes to discussing the existence of Creator? Why is there uncomfortableness from you? Why?
Is prosperity directly linked to economics? Probably. Yeah.
Do you think we can have a political theory without having absolute knowledge about something?
Politics is war by other means.
But is politics itself an avenue of governance of life in a societal level? Is it going to be based on relative human knowledge, or is it going to come from abstract knowledge from the Creator?
Well,
Which is better?
Is Sharia law?
Hang on. You talk about politics, but the problem is you are so confined in a particular domain of life. Like, you know,
that can go from.
One second. It's like you do a PhD on worms, and you think you can solve the world's problem.
Well, we're trying.
You have to really think about the bigger picture. The elephant in the room is what you're missing.
Keep them separate. Politics and religion we keep separate.
According to who?
It's called secularism.
According to who? Secularism. Okay. So are secularists believers or acknowledgers of a Creator?
Oh, they can be or they can't be.
Right.
It doesn't define that.
Then that's why we shouldn't just confine ourselves to secularism, liberalism, humanism.
But secularism
Let's talk about.
doesn't want to pay attention.
Either the Creator exists or doesn't. Can we? I know you're not very comfortable.
I'm just saying he needs to
No, you can disengage. No, I know this gentleman for a long time, and he knows me as well. We've been coming here. But do you agree? Do you agree?
To give you an answer.
When it comes to
300, 400 years, this application
when we do
of
this, we do this to this gentleman.
I have a question.
Doubled the lifespan.
I have a question.
Reduced infant mortality. So if you track all of the progression of this Western little,
I have a question for you.
Immensely improved quality of life.
I have a question for all of you.
You can have your little god and be in a hole, or you can like live on health, medicine, and sort of medicine and technology to make your life.
You don't want to go there because all the scientific technology and civilization where it came from, you know where it comes from. So don't even go there.
The modern era, if we look back in 300 years, I would say Europe was probably the driving force for that.
Europe. Okay, let's talk about it a little bit then. When Europe was in the Dark Ages, how did it come out of the Dark Ages?
Well, I studied this recently. So the Dark Ages are actually referred to because historians can't get the documents out of it. That's why it's considered the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages coincided with Rome's collapse in Europe. And so
what is the Renaissance?
Sorry?
That Renaissance that happened?
The Renaissance. What year?
Yeah. He studied it recently. Right. What drove it?
What drove it?
Before people were enlightened by science and technology of that time, before that, what was the state of knowledge and civilization at that time in Europe?
Like I'm saying, so the Roman Empire collapsed, and the people there had to pick up what they had. It was just like Christian nonsense, and so that was what kept like the order and the politics. But it's just like bubbling underneath. And then because people are reading stuff, the printing press was a big one. Ideas started spreading, and then people start thinking about more and more, and then they just expanded their thought, just naturally as people do when they've got technology to communicate.
So suddenly it's like, you acknowledge everyone exists, but somehow you don't see this guy here is recording. If it wasn't because of Islamic civilization, do you ever think?
No.
So that's okay.
Your time.
Let me relax. Let me ask you. If it wasn't for Islamic civilization at that time, where Europe then learned from it, went to Islamic universities. Let me finish the question, then perhaps you'd know what's going on.
Go on.
The problem is we know because you don't study this in the universities in Europe because they have not put this as a curriculum in the universities or schools and colleges. You have like the Greeks, the Romans, you have pages for everyone in history. But suddenly the Islamic civilization, there's hardly any mention.
No.
But that's what I'm saying.
Call it the golden age of Islam. We don't know about that shit. The problem with your thinking,
wait a second.
Your timeline is all off.
Wait a second.
1500s, that's the influence of Islam.
Relax. So when Europe, as you've described, compared to Islamic civilization at that time, how was it?
I'm actually not sure, but
don't you imagine? You've studied it, so tell me from what you've known.
I was saying the Dark Age of it. I'm pretty sure the Golden Age of Islam wasn't that in the I would guess 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th century.
12th century, I'm thinking, because it was before the Mongol invasion, which would have been about 12.
So we're not saying there's any Islamic information transmitted from Islam to Europe in the 1500s, 1600s. That's definitely not the Golden Age of Islam.
What was my question that you were answering?
You're trying to realise the importance of the golden age of
No.
Islam.
What was my question? Do you recall?
To be
all the way
honest, man,
back.
I can see what you're trying to point. You're
not doing
trying to make
anything.
a broader point about the fact that Islam isn't discussed in modern academia, which I would argue is kind of true, but it misses the broader point.
Yeah, but let's go back. What was the question? What was the question I asked this gentleman?
Started about the Dark Ages.
No. Try again.
When was the Dark Ages?
So none of you were listening and focusing because you were thinking about how to respond to what my question is.
What is the answer to your question?
No. If you haven't even heard my question, what were you responding to?
So what is your question?
Excuse me. If you have not even understood my question, what were you responding to?
So there were many points in this conversation.
I had asked you one question. Remember, I said, I'm going to ask you.
You asked
Look.
multiple questions.
I asked all of you. I said, look, I have a question for all of you. Did you even focus?
You asked multiple
No.
questions.
I specifically said, I have a question for all of you. Then I asked that question.
What was that question?
Now, do you even remember the question?
So the question is, what was that question?
What was the question? What was the
So
question?
now,
What's the question?
so what we're establishing is, relax.
question?
So what we're establishing, don't act like a child, a boy, right?
Okay, well-
You're a grown-up adult. Let's have a
like a
conversation like an
provocateur
adult.
then, and
So
provide this
what we have
magical
established,
question.
is your so-called pretense of I am so intellectual, so knowledgeable, blah blah blah. Now it wasn't just a whitewash because when we have a conversation, you did not even notice what the question was asked, and rather than that, you spent answering a question that I never asked. I asked you, when you describe Europe before the Renaissance, right? You described it was like this, it was like that. You gave me a scenario. I said, compare how, in comparison, Islamic civilization was that time, so we can make a comparison.
This is exactly the point I was talking about. Your timeline is completely off. That's why you're
What timeline?
unable- The timeline of historical events. You're referring
To what?
So you're saying Europe existed, we have to say a time. So we're saying the 1500s, 1600s.
So Renaissance happened multiple times?
No, that's the
So
period
I'm
where
talking
we're
about
saying
that
the
time.
Renaissance is happening between the 15th and 1700s.
16.
Yeah.
Can you tell him the right time again? Because he's all over the place.
I'm a bit lost in my time
So
as
we
well.
put it there, yeah? It's somewhere there, yeah? And
Somewhere where?
between the 1500s and the 1700s. It's somewhere in that period.
Or somewhere in that period?
Yes,
You've just
sir.
studied it recently, but you can't
No,
remember.
I was saying I studied something else.
Oh, something else. I beg your pardon. Right.
Christianity.
Okay. Let's give you take for granted that's the time frame, 15 to 1700.
Yes, thank you. Okay, very much.
Around that time,
Yes, exactly.
if you compare the Islamic civilization, how was it?
That's what I'm trying to say. I actually don't know. I don't know.
Under the hood, yeah.
And then I was no.
Why don't you know?
Well, hold on. Can I say one thing? Hold on. One sec.
Sorry?
I want to say one thing about Islamic civilization. This is to your benefit, which is it was at a very shiny beacon at its early stages. When it took over Andalusia, for example, you had a real beacon of civilization in that caliphate, where you had a massive amount of intellectuals there.
Yes.
You had a massive amount of religious tolerance as well.
Are you listening?
No, but you know, it had a lot.
Listen.
And you also had a lot of infrastructure going up there. Islamic civilization in Andalusia up until about 1400 was shining beacon. You even see it now with the stuff.
Say it slowly so this gentleman would
No,
understand.
but I'm giving him his
Let him
dues
finish.
before I give out the details, right? The way Europe grew is entirely different because, for the most part, it was at the big players of Europe were at the vestiges, the far reaches of the Roman Empire. England developed way later than it should have done. But even then it developed a legal system, Blackstone Book and common law, which we still have today, best legal system there is. And there are other fundamental things that came out of that. So it's not really right to say that, Islam was doing all this science and all this technology and Europe was just doing fucking.
You've totally misunderstood my point.
But no,
I'm saying he's talking about like how you have all of this secularism. It's like the peak of knowledge and technology. I'm disputing that. I'm saying Europe had this enlightenment, had this Renaissance, only because they had contact with Islamic civilization. If you disagree with that, then we can talk. If you disagree, no. You don't think this is true, so let's establish this. Was Islamic civilization hidden in Mars, in planet Mars and Jupiter, that Europe wasn't aware of?
This is the thing, cultures steal from each other all the time.
Simple question. Was Europe...
So I give you the example of...
May I clarify? When Islam was in Andalusia and all that part, Islamic civilization, Europe was there, Was Europe totally unaware of this golden peak of civilization in science and technology, in agriculture, in everything that you can imagine? So was Europe aware of it?
What you took from the Greeks.
Hang on. Was Europe... Hang on. Look at the very childish response. Every civilization accumulates knowledge from someone else, from something else. Muslims, Islamic civilization will definitely say, of course, this civilization is a culmination of knowledge that was acquired, passed on from previous civilizations, whether it was the Egyptians or even the Indians or even the Eastern civilizations. So there is no question about it. The problem is, when we're talking about the Enlightenment and the European civilization, were they totally in dark ages, meaning they haven't got a clue there was a running civilization side by side near Europe at that time?
You're missing up the Enlightenment.
Don't touch me.
You're missing the Enlightenment entirely. The Enlightenment as...
No, Renaissance.
Do you mean the Enlightenment?
No, I'm talking about Renaissance.
Okay, that's fair, because the Enlightenment is something else.
That's come later, this is about reason and so on. But I'm saying even that was possible. If you read about the people of enlightenment, that was only possible because when Arabic text from Islamic civilization was translated in Latin and other European languages, that's only then Europeans learned about all of these things about reason, about scientific methodologies and so on and so forth. So you have a huge debt to Islamic civilization and you still deny it.
When did this...
One second. Chris, if you're
Look at it.
Didn't they both have Jews? I think they should both just thank the Jews.
You see the problem? You see the problem? So now, as I've just established, the gentleman here is actually still living in the Dark Ages, don't know the history. The question that look, the question I asked you before.
Got a question.
When it comes to the existence of the Creator, there's only two options. Either the Creator exists, or the Creator doesn't exist. There is no third option, right? So that is no, it's not that. That is the point I was trying to make. I wasn't trying to make about secularism, liberalism, humanism, feminism, and all that have you. Simply, any talks about how we change this world for better cannot be divorced from the idea whether there is a creator of this world or not. This is my proposition. If you think about like, oh, I can talk about everything and you miss the big elephant in the room, then what are you? You are just another blind person. I would be a nice blind person. So the question then I ask again to all of you, when it comes to the existence of creator, do you agree? It's either God exists, the Creator exists, or the Creator doesn't exist. Do you agree?
Nothing to do with
I got a question.
Do you agree?
I got a question for you, Mr. Speaker.
He doesn't.
Do you agree?
Mr. Speaker, I got a question for you.
No, that's not the question.
Mr. Speaker.
When it comes to the existence. Do you? No.
I got a question for you.
That's a question that we can explore. But do you agree when it comes to the very existence of the Creator? The answers are binary. Either the Creator exists or doesn't exist. Is there another option? Is there another option?
I got a question for you, Mansour.
Is there another option?
No, but it's one of these things.
Come on. Why are you so silent? Why are you so uncomfortable when it comes to discussing the existence of Creator? Why is there uncomfortableness from you? Why? Then okay. Tell me then, when it comes to the existence of the Creator of anything, not just Creator, anything, when it comes to the existence of something, the possible answers are only two. Either it exists or it doesn't. There are no other third alternatives. Do you agree?
Say yes, please.
I don't agree. Look,
Anyone agrees or disagrees?
Disagree.
Okay. Anyone? Continue having your conversation because I don't think you're ready to have an intellectual conversation with a Muslim.
with you. You're such
with
a
a Muslim.
giant in the field.
With a Muslim. I don't think
clearly higher than ours.
you as Europeans, whatever you believe in, secularism.
I already said the answer.
That's what we're talking about. Oh, you're not from Europe?
Hold on.
You don't want to take the questions back.
Or is it Arab?
I got a question.
This is not about that.
I got a question. for you.
Okay.
No.
Mansour, I got a question.
I'm sure the answer is yes.
No, it's not binary. It's not. You okay? Where are you from?
No, I'm
Where are you
from all sorts of places.
Are you from Europe?
From Europe, yeah. More.
Good. You?
England.
England. Yeah? England. So Europe.
You know me.
Yes, I know you. You?
Good old Blighty.
Where?
Blighty.
Blighty, England. So that's why I'm saying Europeans, because they have not learned this in school, colleges and universities, in the history books about Islamic civilization, Islamic theology and religion, and how the Islamic political entity
I've got a question.
is linked with that. No,
I've got a
that is
question for
why
you.
the question needs to come back to whether there's a
No,
creator
I've got
or
a
not.
question for you.
Because that is a common ground
Man,
that
so
we non-Arabs,
Question-
Arabs, Europeans, all can have in this very question. So, are you going to answer my question or not? Okay, here's my question.
Talking about, mate?
My question-
I have a question
The answer
for
is
you.
yes here,
You keep
buddy.
trying to talk about God.
Yes,
I want to
that there
talk
is
to you
only two
about the
options.
Islamic-
What about you?
I have a question for you.
What about you?
I have a
When it
question
comes to
for
the existence
you.
of God,
I have a question
is
for
it?
the last 5 minutes. You've been gibbering on about God. I have a question.
وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. I'm gonna leave you guys. Have a beautiful day. Carry on yourself. See you later.
And now he's
Take
running
care.
away. He don't even want to ask the question. He's running away.